What's up, y'all? How's everyone doing today? So this video is going to be a little bit different than my normal ones. Instead of talking about the movies that I'm currently watching, I'm going to talk about a series, and that is Season 7 of Rick and Morty. Now, generally, I don't talk about TV shows a whole lot, and that's just because trying to watch my 500 movies this year, that doesn't really leave me a whole lot of wiggle room for anything else. But I've been with Rick and Morty since the beginning, so I knew I was at least going to watch the latest season, if not make a video on it, and here we are. So as always, I don't have any notes or anything. This is just the ramblings of a madman. So just to get the elephant out of the room early, the voice changes with Justin Roiland no longer being with the company. For me, it honestly didn't affect the product as a whole, or at least not that much. I think it's more noticeable in the first half of the season, but by the time the season's over, honestly, I didn't even really notice. Now, if you have a keen ear for that stuff, or I guess if you go out of your way to analyze it, you could probably tell the difference. But overall, I think they did a good job, making the best out of an awkward situation. So I'm not going to talk in detail about every episode. Of course, again, no notes, and this being a 10-minute video max. I'm just going to talk about kind of like my overall thoughts, and particularly my 4 favorite episodes. So I think this season did real good. Again, with the awkward situation that's going on, or that was going on, with Justin Roiland, it had potential to really just ruin the season as a whole. And I have seen opinions that say that the season was awful and it's the worst one yet. Blah blah blah. I do not agree with that whatsoever. I honestly think this is one of the better, post season 2 seasons. But yeah, so of course we have a few episodic episodes. We have a few, canon episodes that push the story a little bit further. And I think for the most part, all of them do their part really well. So my 4 favorite episodes are, and I don't know them by name. Again, no notes. I'm just going to call them the spaghetti episode. And spoilers real quick, if you don't want to know anything about any of the episodes, if you haven't watched up to season 5, 3, 2, 1, the Evil Morty episode. And then we got the last 2 episodes, the Valhalla episode, and then the whole episode, or, the season finale. So the spaghetti episode was really interesting. A just very goofy premise that Rick and Morty was somehow able to make heartfelt. So these people on this planet killed themselves and their guts get turned into spaghetti. Very silly. But I watched a YouTube video from Johnny Two Cellos, and he talked about the little montage at the end where the last guy to make spaghetti, and they do a montage of his life and how heartfelt that was. And they could have been ironic with it, but it was a sincere thing, and it actually pulled at your heartstrings, and I really appreciated what they were able to do. I highly recommend watching Johnny Two Cello's video on that. He's, a legit video maker, content creator, so he can express it a little bit better than myself, but thoroughly enjoy and appreciate what they were able to do with that episode, and just with that, again, very silly premise. Moving on from that one, the immediate next episode, episode 5, the Evil Morty episode. Just Evil Morty showing up out of nowhere, mid-season, and also Rick Prime. And this episode did what it was intending to do, and that was just throw us all for a loop and completely blindside us. And come to find out, Rick Prime was pretty much just a red herring villain the whole time. Built him up for a year and a half or whatever it was, just for Evil Morty to just show up and take him out, more or less, without breaking a sweat. Of course, there's more to the episode than that, but that's kind of like the bare skeleton of it. And of course, we have like our Rick that actually finishes Rick Prime off, but Evil Morty is able to show that he is the one in control in this universe, at least for the time being. And I was just floored. I was not expecting this episode. It came out of nowhere. It definitely felt like a season finale type of an episode, like a big event. And I was glued to the screen the whole time. And this episode alone, if there's any haters of season 7, you gotta admit, this has got to be one of the best Rick and Morty episodes that we've ever gotten. at least in my opinion, but I also feel like that's probably the opinion of the majority out there that aren't jaded with the mindset that, oh, only seasons 1 and 2 were good. And then the last two episodes of the season being my next two favorite, and these aren't in order. It's just these are my top four, and then these are the episode list. So it's episodes 4 and 5, and then episodes 9 and 10. But the rest of the episodes, for the most part, were still good. But these are the ones that I connected with the most. Episode 9, again, what I call the Valhalla episode, where Rick kind of keeps dying so he can go to like a version of heaven. And it was something like because they believed it was real, and I kind of forget how it actually started. Because the episode started with Jerry and stuff, but they end up going to Valhalla multiple times, and Bigfoot's with them, and they're fighting the Pope, and it's really like just over the top silly Rick and Morty shenanigans, but it was really fun. And I love anything kind of Nordic, so anything with a, again, that style. So Viking, Valhalla, Odin, things like that, like it's already piqued my interest. And I think they really delivered, again, just on the premise. Not really doing a whole lot as far as forward, like advancing any major like through through seasons plots along. If I don't know what words are, but it didn't necessarily like it's an episodic episode is what I'm trying to say, but words are hard. But it's still really, really good. It was one of the funnest of the seasons, in my opinion. And then to follow that up with what might be, and it's probably a recency bias, so I'm not going to say it 100% is, but it might be my favorite Rick and Morty episode ever. The whole episode, the season finale. And it was, I loved it. So if you had any doubts with Rick and Morty going forward, just watch the season 7 finale, and I think as long as you don't go in like too jaded and you have an open mind, I think you'll kind of be able to see that the team, I feel like they got things under control. But yes, the season finale with Rick and Morty supposedly entering a hole that like makes them experience their darkest fears. Then when they get in there, Diane shows up, Rick's dead wife, who's been killed across every universe, every version. There's no way of getting her back. And so throughout the episode, they kind of play with the idea of, oh, are they in the hole? Are they out of the hole? Like, who's really in the hole? Blah, blah, blah. And then it ends up being that Morty was the only one in the fear hole the whole time. No pun intended. I wish I intended that. That would have been funny, but I'm not that funny. But yeah, the entire time it was just Morty in the hole battling his fear of basically Rick just not caring about him. But the whole thing with Rick, with us finally being able to see Rick interact with Diane, even though it wasn't really Diane, but it kind of helped us see that more. Oh, and it wasn't the real Rick either, what we find out at the end. But it let us see a more human side of Rick, which we do see occasionally. But I feel like this, again, even though it was the fake Rick, like it brought a tear to my eye. I'm not scared to admit it. Season 7, just as a whole, again, I've seen it getting a lot of hate, and maybe I'm just too optimistic, but I'm looking forward to this series and where it goes from here. Again, the whole bait and switch with Evil Morty and Rick Prime and how they did that, and just I can't wait, and I'm super excited. So if you've watched season 7, just let me know what you think in the comments. If you haven't, just let me know. One, do you just not care about the show anymore? Or just let me know what your favorite season is, and let's just have a conversation about that. But I hope everyone has a good day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.